Jeepers creepers, we've got some peepers. What's better than Labradoodle puppy eyes? This is a week 2 litter update video for the petite Australian Labradoodle puppies from Posy. And in today's video, we are going to take a look and see which puppies have their eyes opened at 2 weeks. We're going to enjoy those beautiful eyes. We're going to do a little update on the puppies and an update on Posy as well. Hi, I'm Claire from Isle Labradoodles, and these are the Pacific Coast Confections puppies. These puppies are 2 weeks old, and oh my goodness, look at them grow. Posy's already doing what we call the sit nurse. And the sit nurse is when mom starts to feel like the puppies are getting bigger than me, and so she sits up for them to feed as opposed to lying down. And to be fair, part of the reason why Posy is sitting up right now is so she can get some extra attention and some extra love. Whenever somebody is in with the puppies, Posy is always right there, hoping that all the attention will be paid to her as opposed to the puppies, right? Yes, so she's such a loving dog. Posy's guardian came to visit her on Thursday, and Posy really enjoys it when she has her visits from her guardian mom, Shelly. And Posy has such a beautiful, even temperament that when Shelly leaves, she's not upset. She doesn't cry, she doesn't fuss. She's just, okay, I know you'll be back. And that confidence in their bond and their relationship is lovely to witness. So you can see these guys are really starting to sprout. They look so much bigger than when they were first born, when they were so itty bitty. Now, even though they're still small, they're really coming along in size. Their coats, you can see, are just gleaming green color here. You can just see how he is just the shiniest guy. All their coats are just beautiful, soft, really lovely. Posy herself, her coat is beautiful as well, nice and soft, no loss of hair, lots of shine on her coat too. Now Posy has a little bit of an irritation in her left ear. So what do we do when that happens? If you look at her ear here, you can see it's a little bit pink. Here, let me show your ear. It's a little bit pinker than normal. And when I feel it, I can feel that it's a little bit warm. And you can see how she's turning her head here when I rub it. And she's leaning right into that. So that's what tells us that there's something brewing in there that's not exactly what we like to see. So ALDs are prone to ear infections for a couple of reasons, mostly because they have these floppy ears. So what happens when you have a floppy eared dog is the air doesn't circulate as well because the ear is not open for the air to move around. It's always covered. It also traps moisture more readily, and that can lead to a yeast infection or even a bacterial infection once they start to scratch at the ear. So when you're looking for signs of an ear infection in your dog, you'll find that they might hold their head to the side like Posy was doing there. They might rub with their paw, or they might shake their head a bit. Let's see if I can get Posy to do a head shake, but I don't think so. Hers is not an infection. And how do I know that? Well, she's not at it all the time. I can smell it and go, yeah, it smells perfectly fine. It doesn't smell yeasty. And if you listen, yep, I can hear a little bit of guck in there. And when you hear that guck, you know that it needs a clean out and it needs to be monitored. So when you clean a Labradoodle's ears, you just have to use like a Q-tip, but with a much longer stick on it. And I might get Reynolds just to pass me one. It's just up in that basket there next to the Zymox, Reynolds. And you can actually pass me the Zymox if you want to, and we'll do a whole demo here of what we do with the ears. Now, of course, with moms who are either pregnant or lactating, they cannot have either one. They cannot have regular medication because, of course, that would not be good for the puppies. So we use a product that is an OTC that you can get on Amazon or Canada Pets Drugmart.ca. It's called Zymox. It comes in a blue, a green, and a red formula. The red formula is what I like to use if a dog is not pregnant or lactating. The blue is pretty good as well, and the green is the only one that's safe when a mom is pregnant or lactating. So when you hear that things are not too great going on in the ear there and you want to go, I wonder if something's happening, these are the long Q-tip type things that I was talking about that you can get on Amazon as well. They're very inexpensive. They come in about 500, I think, in the package. There's a smaller one and this bigger one. I always recommend for people who aren't familiar with this to get the bigger one. It's harder to make a mistake and do damage to the ear. So really all you're going to do is just put this in the ear, just in the ear canal. And you're just going to do a really gentle little twist. And then you're going to look, and see, this is what we see. This means yuck. This is a yeast infection, and this is what we want to keep out of her ear. So what we want to do is get all of that out of there. So you just keep using this for as many times as you need. Now each one of these is like a 1/10 of a cent, so you don't have to worry about using a lot of them. We just keep doing that until this comes out clean, and sometimes that takes quite a while, many repeated times. Sometimes it's only going to take once or twice. And once you've done that, if your dog's not doing anything, they're not bothered with it at all, you can just leave it at that. And I'm not using any cleaner here, as you can tell, because it's not bad enough. If it was big globs of stuff, then I would put some cleaner in, apply the cleaner, and I'd rub it, rub it, rub it, rub it. That loosens up all of that gunk. It also usually feels pretty good. You can see Posey's enjoying that. And then I would go in with my cleaner to remove everything. Now, one mistake that people often make, whatever treatment plan they're using, whether it's something that's an OTC or from your vet, is that they continue to clean their dog's ears while they're on medication. Regardless of whether it's an over-the-counter medication or it's something your vet has given you, you don't want to be mucking around and cleaning the ear while the medication is in there, because that will just dilute the medication and completely ruin all of what you're doing, all of your efforts there to get the ear feeling better. So there, now we'll have used 1, 2, 3, 4, we'll have used 6 of these. It's coming out clean enough. I'm happy now. And all we have to do is put some of this into Posey's ear, and we just go in. It fits right into her ear. 1 squirt, and then we just rub it. And then we just leave it. And then once we've done that, I like to take an alcohol swab and clean off where it's gone into her ear, because we don't want to be cross-contaminating it. So we just keep rubbing it and rubbing it. And the reason for that is to get it right in down the ear canal where the problem is starting to brew. And we also want to loosen up if there's any big clogs down there that we haven't reached with our little Q-tippy type thing here. We don't want to go in all the ways and start trying to dig stuff out. That's something that we would only want a vet to be doing, and we would want the dog to be sedated. And that does happen from time to time. So with the Zymox, that's all we're going to do, is we're going to put it in there. We're going to leave it there. And then we'll do that every day for 7 days. And by then we'll find that everything will be back under control. And see, it doesn't bother her at all. She'll feel better. I let her lick my hand just to make her feel like she's part of the whole process there. Good girl. And you see, when she laid down like that, she was doing that because it's not really their favorite thing to have somebody digging around in their ears. So she was trying to get away from me. And now she's forgiven me and said, oh, well, that wasn't too bad after all. And her other ear would just take a quick look if she'll let me. And it's totally fine. It's all pink, nothing in there at all. Nothing to worry about, good girl. So that's how you treat Labradoodle's ears. They are prone to these infections. Now, if you have an ALD that continues to get ear infections, then you want to talk to me if you have one of our puppies, and we'll address that with diet and supplements. One thing that a lot of people don't know is that even we have fruits and vegetables in the food that we feed our dogs. And the reason that we do that is to make sure that they have all the vitamins and minerals that they need. And that comes from the fruits and vegetables. Now, dogs in regular life are not able to process any sort of starch and have a lot of problem processing sugar. So the fruits and vegetables that you find in dog food almost always contain carrots and apples, pumpkins, sweet potatoes, things like that are almost always in the ingredient list. And the reason for that is, of course, they are packed full of all sorts of essential nutrients, but they also have a really high glycemic index. And some dogs can't handle that. And so you have to take them off of fruits and vegetables, and you just feed them pure protein. And then you give them a vegetable that is on its own, and it's called a yeast busting vegetable. And it doesn't have any high glycemic things in it. And instead what it has is things like green leafy lettuce, spinach, kale, a variety of things that are designed to break yeast down in the body naturally. So they get all the benefits of the micronutrients without the side effects of the added sugar that comes from carrots, apples, sweet potatoes, beets, things like that. So it's just really a matter of switching up their vegetables. So for Posey, I'll probably move her off of what she's eating right now. I'll give her pure proteins and the yeast vegetables for a bit. I'll continue with the Zymox, and then we'll have that issue resolved. The fact that she has puppies is probably what has triggered this. There's a lot of hormonal activity going on, and when our hormones get all wound up and excited, that often means our body's immune system is a little bit less robust and not able to handle things as well. Now, one thing, dogs, because they do not eat starch, so dogs having grains is a complete no-no. No rice, no potatoes, no oats, no yeast, no wheat, no corn. None of those things should ever be in a dog's diet, because those are all things that they wouldn't normally be consuming. And the reason why it isn't in their diet and can cause problems is you and I, when we eat, let's say, or porridge, or a piece of bread. When we eat a piece of bread, we have an enzyme in our mouths called amylase. And amylase breaks down the sugars, the starches in the bread when it's right in our mouth. It's all in our saliva. Dogs don't have that. So this is part of the reason why kibble-fed dogs have such bad teeth, because all of that sugar stays in their mouths and it just gloms right onto their teeth. Dogs, through domestication, have developed amylase as an enzyme, but it's located in their pancreas. So there's a whole lot of route for the food to travel through before the amylase is actually present in the dog's body. And depending on the dog, sometimes that just isn't enough, and it does cause them to have some yeast problems. It can be in the ears. Sometimes they'll chew on their feet. So vets tend to treat this with a steroid drug. Usually for ears, the most common one is Suralan. And the other one is Ocernia. There's a few other names that these items go by, but generally speaking, Suralan is the go-to drug. And that's totally fine for a couple of times, but you don't want to have your dog dependent on that. Instead, you want to help support them with their diet. And they're going to need some supplements to get their microbiome back in balance once they've had a yeast infection as well. So there, we got a little bit off topic there, talking about all of that in your ears. Now, for the puppies here, what have they done this past week? Well, they've grown, as you can see. They are considerably larger. They are very strong. They are walking around. They are thriving. And some of them have opened their eyes exactly on that magic 2-week day. Do they all open their eyes at 2 weeks? Heck no. Some of them open their eyes as early as 10 days, 12 days is fairly common, and some of them don't open their eyes until they're 18 to 20 days. So what do we do if they don't open their eyes? What if it's day 22 and they don't have their eyes open? We go to the vet. Eyes are not something I fool around with. I'll look and check, and if they have any crustiness, sometimes there's some puppy eye gunk on there, I'll not wash them off, but I'll put a warm compress on them and hold it and see if that's all that they need for the lids to separate. If not, then off we go to the vet. The reason is the eyes need to remain moist. So if something has to be done other than just simply opening them, I want to make sure I'm at the vet where they can irrigate their eyes and keep them moist and are in a completely sterile environment as well. Hi, was that enough of feeding the babies? You're done with that now? So generally speaking, I think we've only had one time when we've actually had to take a puppy in to have their eye opened, and of course, as so often turns out, we get to the vet and I'm showing Ian is our vet. I'm saying, wow, she hasn't opened her eyes and it's day 22 and I don't see anything crusty. And as we're both looking at her, what does she do? She opens her eye. So there we go. Amazing. Sometimes all you need to do is make the vet appointment or walk in the door, and whatever the problem is you're going for tends to resolve itself. It's funny how often that does happen. So these little kids are really doing great in terms of their strength and their coordination. They're really walking around well and just thriving. And now we started talking a little bit about vets there. We got on our ear thing, and we talked about eyes opening and when we go to the vet. So this week is the time, if you are one of the families on this litter list, for you to be sure that you have a vet. Vets are not easy to come by anymore. There is just as much of a shortage of vets as there are human doctors. Excuse me, can I just put my leg down? Thank you. So if you do not already have a vet, now is the time to start your search. And you may not be able to get in at the clinic that's your first choice. If you can find one that will take you and your puppy, go ahead, get in that clinic, and then once you've been there a couple of times, if you find it's not quite up your alley, then get your name on a waiting list for one that you would prefer. And you can see Orange Collar Girl here, or boy rather, as he's trying to figure out how to get his feet underneath him. You see how his back foot was kind of going all crazy out there, so he can't quite get himself up on all fours yet, but getting pretty close. When you are looking for a vet, the only thing that you really want to be focusing on because of the shortage is making sure they understand that you have an Australian Labradoodle, not an Aussie Doodle, not a Labradoodle, not a Golden Doodle, that this is an Australian Labradoodle and they understand what that is. And in case you don't know what that is a dog whose foundation breed is a poodle, a Labrador Retriever with a splash of Spaniel. An Aussie Doodle is a poodle crossed with an Australian Shepherd. Those dogs are super high energy, really active, have entirely different temperaments from ALDs, which is what we call Australian Labradoodles. Labradoodles are just a poodle and a retriever, a Labrador Retriever, and they tend to be slightly larger. Oftentimes people refer to this cross as an American Labradoodle. That's actually not a term, but it is because there are many more of them in America than there are in Canada. And finally, a Golden Doodle is a Golden Retriever that is crossed with a poodle. So you have an ALD, an Australian Labradoodle, which 15 generations ago was a Lab, a Poodle, and then there was a splash of Spaniel mixed in as well. These guys have not had infusions for multiple generations, so they are purebred ALD dogs. You'll get the pedigree with your puppy as well as a registration certificate from the Worldwide Australian Labradoodle Association after your puppy's been spayed or neutered. So that's just one thing you want to tell everybody you're working with or any of your friends when they're asking you what kind of dog you have. It's an ALD, and you'll probably have to explain to them just what the difference is, because many people are not aware of that. The other two people you're going to be needing to look for is a trainer and a groomer. Your purchase contract for your puppy does require that you begin puppy socialization classes within 10 days of taking your puppy home. Obviously, we can adjust that somewhat if the class starts, say, on the 12th day. This does happen sometimes. As to where to go, if you're on Vancouver Island, the trainer that we recommend is either our own Taylor, who tends to run classes in Victoria, or Communicanine. Generally, I recommend to people that they do both. Communicanine allows your puppy to go and spend time with non-Australian Labradoodles and non-litter mates. So it's good for your puppy to have exposure to a variety of different breeds, different sizes, different types of dogs. So Communicanine is where we recommend. If you are in Nanaimo and Courtney, Best Paw Forward and Canine Kind are the two places that we recommend in those locations. If you're on the Lower Mainland, please post on the owners group on our community page and say, hey, I live in Kitsilano, for instance, Burnaby, and I'm getting a puppy, and where would you recommend is a good place for puppy classes. And then once you finish those, later on when your dog is around 5-6 months old, then you'll be going to a manners class. And finally is your groomer. If we look at Posey, can you turn around and show everybody your pretty self? Look at how cute she is. She's just the cutest and prettiest little ALD you ever did see. And part of the reason she is just the most cute little girl is because she's groomed properly. Julia from Julia's Pet Spa is a master groomer, and we're so fortunate that she grooms all of our dogs. Sadly, she's not taking new clients, as many groomers aren't. But there is a proper way to cut an ALD and an improper way. And you may prefer the improper way. Just because it's called the proper way doesn't mean it's the be-all and the end-all. You'll see many, many pictures of Isle Doodles on the community page, and they have very long ears, like a Cocker Spaniel does. And many of our families really like that look. And if that's what you like, then that's totally, it's your dog. You're the one looking at your puppy. You should pick what look you're comfortable with. Personally, I much prefer the correct ALD clip, which is very short ears. They're angled up along the side of their head and blended in, and they have the proper type of mustache and beard. And also, you see Posey's tail, it has some plumes on it. It's a bit long right now, but really an ALD's tail should be just like a fat version of a lab's tail. Now you'll see many ALDs who have long flowing plumy tails, and again, many people just love that look. But strictly speaking, if you're giving them a correct quote unquote ALD clip, then that tail is a thick version of a lab's tail. So no plumes involved. But like I said, it's totally up to you. Same as ALDs tend to have very long eyelashes. Some people like to let their dog's eyelashes grow out. Some people like to trim them up. There is times when you do need to trim them up. If they're starting to grow so long, they're getting stuck in their mouths, then you want to trim them up. So Ripple has black eyelashes, which are to die for. I really like them. I think they're pretty. So I let her grow hers out. But right now I can see they're starting to get into her mouth a bit, which I'm sure must be quite annoying. So when she goes to get groomed next month, then I'll have them trim them up a little bit, but not too much. Because that is my vanity thing with my dogs. Spirit also has long eyelashes. Hers are a red strawberry blonde color, so you don't see them quite as much as Ripple's, with Ripple's being black. But hers are not anywhere near as long as Ripple's, and Peanut's are very short. We never have to worry about hers at all. So each dog is different, and it's entirely up to you how you like them. So when you go to a groomer, you want to go in, make sure that it's clean, tidy. You want to make sure they know what an ALD is and how to clip them. Ask to see their book. They'll show you pictures of ALDs they've clipped up. Make sure that's how you want your dog to look. And they should have a window so you can see in where the dogs are being groomed. If they have the dogs all behind closed doors, ask if you can go back. I don't like groomers that aren't open and don't show you at least a part of the salon. And you do, as I said, want to make sure it's clean and tidy. For the trainer, when you are looking at training options, what I recommend is you ask when their puppy classes are and make sure you go and attend one. And if they don't let you attend one, that's not the place that I would suggest you want to be sending your puppy to. You want to go, you want to observe, and you want to feel like, okay, I'm comfortable here. Because really the training is for you more than the puppy. So it's really important that you are comfortable, relaxed, and enjoying the experience, and that you feel that they are handling the dogs appropriately. So you will get a video all about this, of course, if you're on this litter list with a bit more information. Just keep in mind when we shot that video, there was not a shortage of vets. So in that video, we talk about going and interviewing vets, which is what we did when we moved to Vancouver Island. We interviewed 9 different vets before we found the one that we were happy with. And check and see what are their policies for after hours. Do they provide any emergency care? Most don't anymore. Most vets will just have you go, if you're on the island here and you're in Victoria, they'll send you to Waves, which is an outstanding emergency facility. If you're closer to Nanaimo, they'll send you to Central, which is fine. And if you're up island, you have to come to Nanaimo now. Van Isle Vet, which is not related to us, just similar name, do provide after-hour cares for their own clients, I believe, up until perhaps 10 o'clock at night. But no longer do they do 24-hour care, at least as far as I'm aware. It's really hard to find vets, but it's not just vets who need to be working when it's after hours. They need techs. They need that support. If your dog needs surgery, they can't do surgery without a tech there to support them. Just like you can't get surgery at the hospital without an operating nurse. It's a highly skilled support position, and they work as a team. So you can't just have the one person. So now let's see who has eyes. Much more fun part. And as always, we are going to do the kids in birth order, which means we start with a blue collar. Oh, sorry, that's green. I always am getting everybody mixed up in this litter because they're all boys. And we got, oh, can you hear that? Talkative, talkative, talkative. Here we go. This is blue collar. I never expect blue collar is going to be the party. Hi, how you doing? You want to say hi to everybody? And there's Mom. Oh, she's going to give you your tongue a little bath. Can you see them? They're there. They're just opening up. Just this morning did Mr. Blue start to show us some of his pretty eyes. Now, Mr. Blue has blue eyes. All the puppies will have blue eyes to start with. This is normal. None of them will stay blue. Blue eyes are a fault within the breed, so not something that we want to see in an adult dog. These puppies will have the same color eyes as Posies, which is a light hazel color. Hello, very handsome. And Mr. Blue, who's just exhausted with life, he is now 855 grams. He's not the biggest puppy, but he's 855, which is a tremendously good weight for a petite at week 2. Love you, baby. Next, we've got yellow collar. There we go. Yellow collar is the tiniest puppy in the litter and still is at 672 grams. And Mr. Yellow opened his eyes yesterday. And if he finishes yawning, maybe he'll show them to us. I'm going to show everybody your pretty eyes. They don't hear yet. Their ears are not open yet. That will happen soon. Oh, goodness, he's not going to cooperate and share. Maybe if I change his collar around and fiddle around with him, he'll do it. Usually if I fuss around and give them a little bit of a hard time, they show them. But no, he says, no, I'm not opening my eyes, Mom. I'm just way too tired. Okay, little tiger. I'll put you down there. If I see them open up when I'm doing this, then I'll pick them up and show them to you. Then we've got red collar girl over here. Hi, pretty girl. And this little lady, she does have her eyes open. Yeah. There we go. Show everybody. Yay. There's those pretty blue eyes. Look at you. Yes. So you wonder what she sees? Not much. Just blobs. big gray blobs. That's all she's seeing right now. There's no shape, or shapes rather. There's no acuity in their vision whatsoever at this point. Hi. She knows I'm here. She can't hear me, but she can see me, and she's like, oh yeah, that's that thing that comes in all the time and is always picking me up. That's my girl. Then we got green collar boy. He's over here. And I believe Mr. Green is maybe going to show you his eyes if he's in the mood. We'll just move his collar around, get him woken up, and see if he's going to pop them open here. No, he says, actually, no, I'm wrong. Green collar does not have his eyes open. Sorry, wrong dog. They were not open this morning anyways when I checked. And if I look at them right now, no, they're sealed shut. Sorry. Green does not have any eyes to share, just his very handsome, shining face that he has. Such a pretty puppy. And Green is 863 grams, and this is your biggest puppy for this week. This is the giant boy. And next, and finally, we have orange collar. Oh, we got someone at the door. We're just going to let Reynolds go get the door. You go get the door, Reynolds. It's okay. Go right ahead. Sorry, everybody. We just have somebody ringing our doorbell. Normally, we don't have anybody coming to our door. So that's got everybody all worked up. But now you know that they can be guard dogs if they want. Then we got orange collar here, which is our last puppy in our litter. And Orange does have his eyes open. We're just going to go see if he's going to show us. I know they're there because I've seen them. It was probably just a delivery from Amazon or something. Who knows? But there, he's not going to share those eyes with us either. He's going to stay sleeping. So uncooperative. But Mr. Orange is at 759 grams. So there, you had a whole bit of Labradoodle guard dog exposure there. So we have 5 dogs here when somebody comes to the door. Of course, the mums bark because they are protecting their babies. This is a totally natural thing. Our dogs also do because they know there are puppies here, and they are also all moms. They're retired, and they also protect the puppies. But you can hear they've stopped. It's very easy to get them just to settle and say that's enough. And then they do stop. They're not the type of breed that goes on and on and on. But they will bark at the door. You can have them not do that. It just takes a lot of work to train them to not bark whatsoever. I like to let them speak. I think it's important that they use their voice. They bark for a reason. That's something that's important to them to do. So we hope you enjoyed the update for this 2-week litter update for the Pacific Coast Confection puppies. And if you have a moment and can pop us a comment, please do. I will be posting on the Facebook page some pictures of them with their eyes open once we get them to finally open their eyes and show off. And look at Yellow Collar's position here sleeping. What a goof. Thanks so much for watching today.